have Sam Monet performing a piece that I'm unaware of. Come on up, Sam! Give it up, give it up, give it up!
Brace yourselves for the Reiki Minister. I know you like to use the space. Don't step on this. Okay, it's bad your turn.
Okay. Oh, cool. Well, hold on. I don't even know if I'll need that open. So, the original piece I was going to do is called Put My Heart to Rest. And then I won't stray too far off from that, but I found it didn't resonate with me as much as I thought it did. So I'm just going to be honest, and I'm going to try and provide an experience and help you guys understand mine. So at the end of the night or at the end of this performance, you can decide to call it whatever you want, because it doesn't have a title. So, I used to ask the world or God or whatever powers out there to put my heart to rest. I used to ask whatever love I had to put my heart to rest. Interpret that as you will, but I'm not sure I really understood what that meant myself. When I was 2, my mom left. She drove to work, but I had no clue that she was ever going to come back. So I stood there at the garage door in my grandmother's arms, crying, writhing in pain, because I thought that my home, the womb I was born in, would never come back. Because I didn't understand that there was actually a home within me, and that was the true home. It was my heart. I'm always saying that people should be kind to one another, and yet I'm guilty of doing the exact opposite, because I forget sometimes that I have no idea what they went through. I look happy, right? For someone who doesn't know any better, could have always looked happy, and yet they would never know that that kid over there who had a best friend that would always beat them up was me. They would never know that that kid that was being beat up, when they would hit back, was deemed the criminal. They would never know that in that kid's backyard, a friend would do to them something that people usually think can only happen to women. Because it can also happen to men or boys. And people also don't know that it really is hard to speak up, especially because their brother could stand there, but had to look away because he couldn't stand the sight of what was happening. In 8th grade, I really began to understand the impact my ego had on me. Now, I'm not talking about ego in the sense of pride. I am not talking about ego in the sense of me walking around like I'm the highest person there is. I'm not talking about that kind of ego. I'm talking about the ego that is the mind. Because that's not where we should live, and that's where we live way too often. It's in our hearts where we should live, because I found that my mind was the greatest war zone that I would ever come across. That my ego, when it was dying, would try so hard to cling on to me, to take me with it. 8 times it tried to take me from this life in 2 weeks. The day after, I found out that spirit would not want to take me from this world because I had something to offer that I had no clue what it was. I took a vow of silence for a day. And apparently, in this society, silence is deemed a crime. So the people that were of authority would call my parents, thinking that that could be at all a threat when they had no idea what was going on in here. They tried to threaten me by failing me or suspending me or expelling me or sending me to the counselor's office when really I had gone to the counselor because despite how much I did not agree with the practices, I had nowhere else to go. No one would let me sit in their class on the floor with my shoes off because the ground was grounding me. Because it made me feel safe. It made me feel like I was close to my mother, the earth, the one where we all came from. And no one would know that I would have to sit there in the dean's office, crying, climbing up a chair because I was remembering what happened in my backyard. No one would know that one of my past girlfriends would have to be there sitting on the floor, holding my hand, and that only in her eyes did I find safety because it was obviously not in front of mine. It's not in my mind, and I did not know how to enter my heart. Nobody could tell that by looking at me, that I had experienced a person coming into my life because I invited them, and then criminalizing me because I did not spend enough time with them, despite the fact that they could sleep in my bed every night without question. Nobody would know that although I would give everything to this person, I would find that I was the bird being crushed, that I was that bird that was not allowed to fly around even in its cage for a little while because the owner loved it so much it just couldn't let it go. And then I would find myself loving this wonderful being, this guy that I did the same to. But his heart was so big that he knew that I saw what I was doing. It was much shorter than 4 months of being crushed. It was only condensed into 1 week. He saw that I saw my mistake, and we made amends. The ego can do terrible things to us. It loves to torture us and tell us lies, like nobody cares about me, or I don't care about myself. But that's not true. The ego is only saying that about itself. We're the ones who believe it. The mind is in another sense just like touch, taste, smell, sight, or sound. Hearing, I guess. Its thoughts go on and on and on, beating like a heart endlessly. We don't have to listen to it. We don't have to believe it. We can simply stand by and watch. We don't have to take it personally because it's not. We can understand that the things that we went through, other people could have gone through as well, or they could have gone through something completely different. And whenever we see them and we have some sort of negative emotion, it's because they're a mirror of us, showing us a part of ourselves that we might have hid away or not even looked at before. So I searched and searched and searched for an experience, for that love, for that home. And I learned to live in my heart instead of my mind. And that's what I would like to share with you now. close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Oh, it'll be there. It'll be good. Now, relax. Relax your feet and your ankles, your calves, your shins. Feel the water melting off the warm ice that sits on the pavement in the sun. The warm sun, not the hot sun. Feel your muscles relaxing as the tension melts away. Feel the expression on your face dropping away like the water. And feel the buzzing. Feel all the sensations, the emotions. They're just sensations. They're sensational, phenomenal. But it's a process, though, that we often find is difficult to sit with. That's the key. Just sit with it and watch it. And realize that you're beyond it. And you'll find love there, always. And behind your eyes you may start to see lights. And that's because the light never leaves, because it's inside of you.